Hello, PAL fans, and welcome to your source of drama, hope, and information. No personal news to cover this week, so we can dive right into the juicy bits. Last episode, we covered the prison riot within the UK. No information has come out still, but the Queen's Gambit team has done a rather nice job at finding and recapturing many of the escaped convicts. To kind of keep in line with the topic we discussed last episode, I figured I would mention the individual heading the efforts on finding all of the escaped convicts, Regina Trout, aka Matriarch. As the field leader of Queen's Gambit, she is well loved in the UK for her candidness and firm but fair presence. It's no surprise that she carries that same energy on the Queen's Gambit team, with those having been on the team and currently on the team attesting to her ability as a leader. What also makes her stand out is her abilities. Her abilities grant her increased strength alongside crystalline growths on the arms that grant her enhanced striking abilities. These growths also grow on parts of her body that grant her durability, with a crystalline crown on the top of her head, which was the sole reason why she donned the name Matriarch. These abilities, in conjunction with her strong leadership skills, make her a fierce opponent for any would-be criminal. Regina Trout was born on September 16th in Albion, England, in the year 1989, to George Trout, a former Royal Marine, and Ursula Trout, a nurse that George met in Germany. Regina Trout started out pretty well off, and her father instilled a sense of duty, while her mother instilled a sense of kindness. However, around age 8, Regina started experiencing chronic pain, as well as migraines. She was sensitive to the slightest touch, and her parents weren't sure what was going on. After taking her to the hospital, her parents learned that she was in the throes of expressing genes for a cumbersome set of abilities. Seeing the crystalline growths that were slowly developing across her body, there was an attempt to give her medical support. While there was some steps taken in alleviating some of her discomfort, the social consequences were starting to rear their ugly head. So, Regina's parents were given a choice. They could either continue to provide her support at home, or they could send her to the Powered Support and Comprehension Academy within Albion. These academies are, of course, called something different across Western nations. Knowing that they wanted what was best for their daughter, and wanting her to have access to some of the best tools to help their daughter come to terms with these developments, they decided it was time to send her to the academy. Regina was promptly sent towards the academy, where she was provided the necessary medical support, as well as the necessary training to better understand her abilities, alongside a normal education that would be expected of a child. Mind you, while these academies are used for superheroic screening, and one can choose to go through a track that takes him to registration and licensing, it isn't necessarily a requirement. However, statistically, most people that go through these academies do end up going through that track. Regina ended up being another number in the pool of academy students that decided to use their powers for a career of helping others and combating against the darker side of society. She graduated at the top of her class due to her hard work and stubbornness in the year 2007. Afterwards, she would utilize her powers within the Enhanced Provisional Guard, making a name for herself against high-profile powered criminals. Over her 3 years in the Provisional Guard, she was moved to a Lancer Force unit, where she was further trained in breach and clear tactics. She was a force multiplier in the Middle East, given her tactical stubbornness and compassion shared between her troops. It was also here where she met one of the current members of the Queen's Gambit, codenamed Scarab, an Egyptian-based hero who moved over to the UK and was allowed to operate within the UK at the time as an advisor status, but is now a permanent resident within the UK, as you all know. Anyway, after 2 years in the Middle East, she moved back to the UK, and due to recommendation, she was made field leader of the Queen's Gambit team, a role that she has maintained with the utmost care. Prominent events such as the 2013 hayfires in the Docking District and the Robert Musician affair were handled with the delicate care of someone who prides themselves in a compassionate and tactical blend. She continued to show that care with the 2017 riot that Rust had incited. While there were still some injuries and deaths, many point out that it probably would have been much worse without her leadership. Many of these same conversations have been circulating in the media within the UK. She led her teams with precision in a few hostage situations that followed the most recent prison riot, as well as the many opportunists that added their own unique blend of chaos into the Albion streets. We wait with bated breath to hear of the last escapee captured, but for now, we can be assured the Queen's Gambit team and their efforts are headed by a very competent leader. Thus concludes this episode of Blow for Blow. If you like this episode, don't worry, because I am sure that you'll hear more about the Queen's Gambit team going forward, not just in this podcast, but in media and various other outlets. If you want to keep up to date on the most recent powered information, feel free to give a follow. Catch you later, pal fans.